In the movie recently filmed by the name of Cake, Jennifer Aniston plays a woman battling with chronic pain in her life. As part of her treatment, the woman undergoes underwater therapy, physical therapy while immersed in water, to provide her with some relief for her pain. But for the actress, that therapy was not a relief. It was, in fact, terrifying. Aniston reveals, she says, I basically have a real fear of going underwater. As a kid, I drove my tricycle into the pool, and now I can't go underwater. She says, to get the one shot of me going underwater with the weights, I think we did that 30 times. It was the hardest day of my life. Can you imagine facing the thing that you're most terrified of, not just once, but having to do it again and again all day long? I think we'd call that torture, wouldn't we? Well, you might not fear going underwater. That might not be something which poses any terror to you. But you might well be able to identify with going through a day that was for you pure torture. Maybe just now in your mind's eye you can picture that day and all that you had to endure on one specific day. Think about that awful day. As we read our text this morning, it's from Psalm 118, verse 24. I think everyone knows this verse, but this is the verse that says, "This is the day which the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it." I want to say, first of all, this morning that every day that we have is a gift from God. This is the day which the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. God is eternal. God exists outside of time. God is not limited by its boundaries. We live our whole life in time. We don't know an experience of existing outside of time. Every moment of our lives is regulated by the passing of time. So we aren't familiar with what it would be like to live outside of time, but God is superior to time, and God lives outside it. He cannot be limited by time or by space. The great magician Harry Houdini often claimed to be uncontainable. Early in his life as an escape artist, he would challenge people to try to bind him in such a way that he could not get loose. He would have men come to the stage and tie ropes around him and make the knot secure and pull him as tight as they could. And in just a moment or two, he would be out of them. He progressed from that, challenging police departments to put him in handcuffs that he could not get out of. And they put him in handcuffs, and a second later, those handcuffs would be clanging to the ground. The newest designs that they had made, the most elaborate designs they had, and in a second, he was out of those things. Started saying, "Lock me up in a jail cell, the most secure cell that you have, and I'll get out." And again, they locked him up in cells, and he got out of them. Put me in a sealed container, wrap chains around it, drop it in the river. You know, he went through all these things. Straitjacket, it didn't matter. He would be out of them. Now, Harry Houdini did that not because he was magical in any sense, but because he had a lot of tricks that he knew how to do. He would hide a piece of wire in his hair, or a small handcuff key in his mouth, or he would secret other things that he might need someplace on his body to be able to get at them and use them. He knew how to dislocate his shoulders from their sockets so that he could get out of tight bindings or straitjackets by just wiggling out of them becoming loose with his shoulders distended. He knew a lot of tricks like that in order to be able to escape the bonds that were put upon him. Well, our God is not containable. But it's not because he knows tricks. It's not because he knows things that will give him little cheats in situations like this. Our God is uncontainable because he's above everything else. The laws of nature that pertain to us, that limit us, don't pertain to God. The things that we are subject to, God is above them. He can multiply loaves and fishes. He can walk across the surface of the water. He can give total and instant